So the secret to using Outlook and applying this waiting for action to note or track the fact that you have asked somebody for something or you want to track something is to simply start a new email. And so you are wanting to maybe forward an email or start a new one. Doesn't really make much difference. I'm just going to use my Gmail address, for instance. The key is to include your own email address, your sending email address, your from email address, in this case my wells.net address, in the carbon copy area. So that's really all I need to do, and I'm going to just send a test, and we're going to look at that in a minute. So if we send this test, this will not come back into my email box, but it will be automatically routed into this waiting for list. So if I actually go in here, the first one here should be this test that I just sent. So it never came into my inbox, even though I carbon copied myself. So I have a rule that says when hey, you've carbon copied yourself, don't ever show it in my inbox, just automatically route it into my waiting for list. So let's show you how to do that. So I have a rule set up. So if you go into the Move area on the ribbon, I'm going to click on Rules, Manage Rules and Alerts. You would create one, or you could create it from here. I call it my waiting for action. So if we open that up, I can just walk you through how that's set up. In the Select Conditions area, which is step 1 in Outlook, I have checked where my name is in the CC box. As a fail-safe, I also put from people or a public group, and that's where it's going to be from me. You don't necessarily have to do this. It should be able to find that, but just to kind of a belt and suspenders method, I just make sure that it's from me. So you could do that as well. Then in the next step, select actions. I'm flagging the message. I'm assigning it a category. That's somewhat optional. And then I'm moving it to a specified folder. So when I'm flagging it, I have it with no date, so follow up with no date. I'm assigning it the waiting for category, and that's especially if you use like a task list or something and you can bring those up and filter those. But the real important one is move it to the waiting for folder. So you need to create a folder in your Outlook, and I put the symbol in so it bubbles up to the top, and so I'm setting it to move there. So that's really kind of taking it right out of the inbox right away and moving it right away into that folder. And then in the last one, select exceptions. I don't have anything at all checked there. And that's really all there is to it. You simply turn the rule on, you give it a name, and you're done. So it is a similar process if you use Gmail. So you go into your Gmail client, and it would work the same in the Inbox app or in the traditional Gmail client. You're just going to go into Settings, and you're going to go or click on the gear, go into Settings, and then you're going to, once that launches, we're going to go into Filtered and Blocked Addresses. So you notice I've got a number of them set up here. It's this first one we're interested in, so I'm just going to go in and edit that. You would just create a new one if you wanted to do that. So if I edit this, if it in Gmail is from my Gmail address and to my Gmail address, so I've basically sent it to myself. Is the filter here. Then if I click continue, I'm going to skip the inbox, essentially archive it. I'm going to mark it as read, and I'm going to apply a label. That's the way Gmail works. I'm going to apply the waiting for label, and you need to have created the waiting for label ahead of time. That's a screencast for another time, but creating labels is fairly easy. So you would create the waiting for label and apply that label, and then you would just create the filter. And then essentially it works the exact same way. You have the ability to carbon copy yourself or even send it to yourself, and it's going to apply this waiting for tag, and you're not going to see it in your inbox. So that's how simple it is to create a waiting for action, whether it be in Outlook or in Gmail. I would say that other email clients have similar capabilities or rules. You'll have to explore how that works in the client that you are using.